Hi, my name's Liz Harrell, as David said, and I work with the Department of Developmental Services, DDS, but I'm actually an employee of the San Diego Regional Center now. I'm based out of Carlsbad, which is an odd situation, and I'm sharing this with you because to me, that's the first kind of wow, we don't have to do things traditionally. And it's an example of you don't have to live in Sacramento to work at DDS. The department decided it was a specific individual situation to get a little creative. And to me, that sort of captures how self-determination, how our system is. When we start talking about self-determination, as I go through that with all of you, you'll understand the connection I'm trying to make there around. We don't have to always do things the same way sometimes, even though sometimes that way is fine. But for some folks, maybe adaptations need to be made. So again, my name's Liz Harrell. I just recently accepted this position, Training and Special Projects Coordinator with the department, and primarily responsible for managing projects such as self-determination and the rollout of the HCBS final rule. I come off of about 23 years of experience working with Eastern Los Angeles Regional Center. I managed a department responsible for a variety of kind of executive projects and training and all that good stuff, but I also managed the self-determination pilot project there, which did start in 1998. And so we do have a lot of experience having done self-determination at that regional center, waiting and waiting for it to roll out. So it's exciting that it's finally here. I also have worked with Orange County Regional Center and Alta Regional Center, doing a variety of work as service coordinator, stuff like that. I am one of 4 kids. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. I have 2 brothers and a sister. One of my brothers does have autism. So he lives with my 88-year-old mom in the San Diego area, which is why I needed to be in Carlsbad. So that's a little bit about me. Let's talk about self-determination. I'm going to try not to move around too much because I know it's being filmed, but that's kind of hard because I move around a lot. I'm part Italian. I always kid that when I have to share the stage with people, I punch them, so it's good I'm here alone. So, you know, David kind of laid the groundwork a little bit about self-determination. You know, it's one of these things that's been around for a long time. You're going to hear about that, like a long time, longer than 23 years. It's been around a really long time. At the same time, it's brand new. Okay, the way it's rolling out in California, it's new for us. It is, and an analogy to use that might be a little disturbing, it's like the airplane is starting to take off, but it's still sort of being built, right? So there's some things that until we get in the air, until things get going, there's not answers for. And I really like what David said. I'm going to steal that. 2,500 people, 2,500 different answers. But one of the things that we did when I was at East LA, our advisory committee, we always used, this was our motto, and so now it's the state motto. We're going to learn together. We have to be able to be comfortable learning together. You know, I did a lot of public meetings when I worked at Eastern LA Regional Center, from purchase service disparity, vendor meetings, parent meetings, all sorts of meetings. And sometimes people would get kind of like, you know, a parent might get angry at me and say, you know, I had to hear about this from another parent instead of the regional center. And, you know, I get that. Again, wearing my sister hat, a family hat, I get that, and I don't want to take away from that frustration of feeling like I needed an answer, and why didn't you have it? At the same time, you know, sometimes what I would say to parents like that would say that is that that's how our system was built. And that's how it grows and evolves, is really parents helping other parents. And it's wonderful now you've told me, because I'm in a position wearing my professional hat to be able to share it with a whole bunch of other folks. So we're learning together. Let's be in partnership. That is different. In self-determination, it has to be approached that way, and that is a shift for everybody. It's a shift for those of us that are professionals. It's a shift for those of us that are families, that maybe are used to saying, here's a list of things that I need, and I need you to give this to me, or to give me the answers. Or professionals to say, you know, I'm going to check and say yes or no on that. That's not what self-determination is. It really doesn't work that way. It works when we really do all understand that we're learning together. So as fellow, pretty much most of us here are providers in the room, right? Professionals, you know, I really want to emphasize this one. It's okay if you don't know everything. I'm a trainer. So I'm supposed to know everything, and I don't. And this is my cop-out to you. Someone's going to ask a question, and I'm going to say, I don't know. And in self-determination, that's okay, because that's how we learn. It isn't, oh, I don't know. It's, oh, I don't know yet, but we'll learn. I'll find out. Okay? You know, and I often say I'm not really a trainer. I'm an explainer. And I'm not here to sell you on self-determination, I'm here to explain it to you. And particularly for this audience, the purpose today, I want to talk with you about self-determination so you have a basic understanding of what it is. And I'm talking very basic, because to really understand it, you have to go through a lot of training and orientation, frankly. 23 years of it at East LA, and we still were, figuring that out. But the other thing is, for you, I want to talk with you about the opportunities that it holds. And definitely bust some myths about it, but about the opportunities that it holds based on what we know about self-determination. So I'm going to have to really go quickly to talk to you about the basics. So basically, you're going to get an overview of the program in California. We're going to talk about how vendored service providers fit in. We do have a vendored service provider who, after the break, right, is going to talk a little bit about how she's made her program prepare for self-determination and thinking about that. And then the next steps here, and it says FDLRC because I do this all over and I didn't change it. I'm so sorry, I don't mean to offend you. San Andreas. It does get adapted for each regional center, trust me. And then we'll talk about where to get more information. So, basically, for you all, again, we're going to cover it's here. What does that mean? How will services be delivered? And will I still be able to provide services? Those are some key questions I know providers very often ask. And, just to cut to the chase, yeah, you can still provide services. Yes, absolutely. So I want to kick us off with an activity because I'm that kind of trainer, but don't worry, I won't make you do too much touchy-feely or role-playing or anything like that. Everybody has to have a partner. So if you're sitting alone at a table, I see some lone folks, just turn around and get a partner. If there's 3 of you, that's okay too, but everybody does need to partner up with somebody. And I want you to do this. And everybody, okay? I'd like for you to partner up with the person, and we're going to take 5 minutes and share why did you go into this work? Why is it that you've chosen to work in the field of serving folks with developmental disabilities? Okay, we have 5 minutes. Let's go. Okay, why don't we come back? I'm going to try and stay where that camera is. We'll come back together. All right. All right. So I know it's hard to interrupt because people are probably telling really interesting stories. Why in your discussions, did anybody say, I went into this field because I knew I was going to make lots of money? Yeah, see, whenever I do that activity, it always gets laughs, which is kind of sad, but yeah. Did anybody say, I want to have power and control over people? No. Would anybody like to share? And I'm going to come to you with the mic because I know we're trying to record this. Would anybody like to share either their answer or the person with them? Or I'll come put a mic in your face. So somebody needs to volunteer. We got to volunteer way over here. I'll go over there.
But you stay there because we're recording, and I'll bring the mic.
All right. Well, then I will get back up on the stage. See, I'm moving around too much. Okay. What was your answer?
Because, well, I became a social worker because I have a sister who's 4 years younger than I am, and she has autism.
All right. Okay. So it was a family member. Anybody else? Javier, you can pick someone out if no one.
All righty then, here we go, right in front of him.
Okay, 2 of them.
To help. To help how I can use what I have.
Yeah.
To help others.
Awesome.
Actually, I was in my early 20s and I was managing a business, so I got invited to a nonprofit organization to serve as a business in their business advisory committee. And when I learned about the mission and started working with volunteering and interviewing high school students with all types of disabilities, I just fell in love with the mission, and I transitioned from, the business where I was working at into the nonprofit sector. And I've been with the organization for 14 years, so I never left.
Awesome. Yeah. So, we got one more. Awesome. Yes.
While I was thinking this morning, one reason I like this question is because your answer can change every day. Right? It's not one reason that is going to follow through. We recently supported a man who would have been 67, who was born in 1952, so he turned 18 right when the Lanterman Act was passed. So he lived his whole life through the Lanterman Act, received services, and one of his catchphrases, because he didn't say a lot, but one of his catchphrases was, "Don't make yourself a problem." And to me, that encapsulates everything that we need to do better. Because if someone who has received services has internalized that they are the problem, then that means that we're not doing what we need to be doing. And I think in self-determination, we do have a chance to show the community what needs to change so that people don't see themselves as the problem.
Thank you. Thank you. One more. Awesome.
I was 13 when I was called to this mission, I think. I saw a little girl with Down syndrome, and I fell in love with her. And ever since then, I always just keep volunteering. And then I came to the United States. I did real estate for 22 years, and now I've been serving for 13 years at SARC.
Thank you. Any others? All right. Yeah, so see, okay, so wherever I go and I ask that question, there's some themes, right? There was, I was called to it. I was called to it. I was born into it, right? I just wanted to help. I want to support. I get it. I see where we can be with this, right? So all of that is what keeps us doing this work, right? It isn't the pay. We know that, right? It's around really connecting with folks and really connecting to our personal values about this work. It's exceedingly rewarding work, right? So what happens? Sometimes when we do this work, whether we're working for a provider, whether we're working with a regional center, sometimes what happens though is we feel like we are moving away from that. We're getting pulled from that because there's so many forms, and then there's rules, and then there's inspections, and there's meetings, and it's like, whoa, and that's called burnout when that happens, right? Okay, so that's, what's happening there is really, there's rules and there's values, and the rules start making our values bend and have to like fit into them. What's really great is that we're on the cusp of a great change with self-determination, also frankly with HCBS, which we'll talk a little bit about today in the final rule, but we're really on a cusp of really a situation where the rules are bending to fit values. And the opportunity to really do that kind of work that we really like to do, to really connect with folks. This allows for that. It really does. Self-determination is successful when it works that way. I can speak from experience. You can have people that are happy, things cost less, people are working in partnership. It's pretty amazing. And I would say to you, probably you serve at least one person where you're like, gosh, if we could just do that one thing different, it would make all the difference. But we can't, because the feds won't let us, because the regional center won't let us, because licensing won't let us, whatever. And some of those rules haven't changed, okay? But some of them have. In self-determination, there's a lot more freedom to maybe do that one thing, to maybe go ahead and say, okay, if we could just get an Uber to get him to that place, then, oh my gosh, he'd be able to do this, that, and the other. Self-determination allows for those little things to be done, which is really an exciting thing, because sometimes it's the little things. Buying food for the service dog makes all the difference for people, for their lives, right? So self-determination, what is it, all right? And I can tell you something, no matter what, when we talk about self-determination, there's a lot of questions. And self-determination itself, even in the rollout, it's not a linear thing. So questions come, and trust me, we'll try and cover everything. But no matter what order you put this training in, it always feels a little out of order. But we're gonna start by just getting a very quick, very quick, what is self-determination? I think folks here have the basic concept here. It's a program where folks have a specific budget. It's an annual amount of money from which they can purchase their services and supports to make their plan work for them. It's a very simple concept. It's very complex when you start to break down how's it gonna work, right? Okay.